Remember, the Major League Baseball draft is July 9th, rounds 1 and 2 coming your way right here exclusively on MLB Network. And then rounds 3 to 10 will be on MLB.com. Jim Callis from MLB.com and MLB Pipeline all over the draft, all over the prospects. Hey, and Jim, let's talk about there is a new number one in MLB Pipeline's new 250 prospect list. It just came out last night, and for fans that were watching the College World Series, they should recognize the new name at the top.
Yeah, we flipped the LSU guys, Robert. We went Paul Skenes at number one, the right-handed pitcher, over Dylan Cruz, the outfielder, who's been number one on our list since preseason. And there's really no wrong answer. You could go either way with those guys. And Wyatt Langford from Florida, who was in Omaha, was very talented also. For me personally, I would put Paul Skenes number one, and we did, because I think he's rarer. It's harder to find a Paul Skenes than it is a Dylan Cruz, as great as Dylan Cruz is. Paul Skenes, saw him 2 lights out outings in Omaha. He's been lights out pretty much from day one this season. And he's the best pitching prospect in the draft. You go back to Garrett Cole, you go back to Steven Strasburg. Some say he's the best ever. It's Strasburg stuff with better command. This is a guy, they're not going to do it. There's no reason to, but he could probably pitch in the big leagues almost immediately. I think we'll see him at some point in 2024. And I just think, even though I think a lot of teams would rather take a hitter because it's safer, pitchers get hurt.
Yeah.
I think Paul Skenes comes around once every 10 years. Dylan Cruz is very, very talented. I'm working on a mock draft. I'll probably have Dylan Cruz still going number one to the Pirates this week. But Paul Skenes, you just don't see guys like that. It's like once a decade or so.
Hey, so keeping with that College World Series theme, which players, Jim, do you think during the course of that tournament helped themselves the most in terms of draft positioning?
Yeah, the top 3 guys on our list were at the College World Series, but they were the top 3 guys on our list coming in. I think the guy who helped himself the most was another LSU right-hander, Ty Floyd, their number 2 starter. And it's funny because LSU's pitching was kind of a question mark coming into the World Series. They'd had a lot of injuries this year. They got blown up 24-4 in the second game in the finals. Other than that, they pitched lights out. But Ty Floyd, who is, plus fastball, slider could be plus, control could be a little shaky at times, up and down season. In the first game of the finals, Robert, he struck out 17 guys in 8 innings. That tied the all-time College World Series 9-inning record held by Eddie Bain, who went straight to the big leagues out of Arizona State and also was a tremendous scout for a number of years. And I think, this year there isn't a whole lot of pitching in the draft, college pitching-wise. We've got Skenes. We've got all these guys we saw at the World Series, Chase Dolan or Rhett Loud or Hurston Waldrop. And after that, it's a big question mark. I think Ty Floyd has firmly put himself maybe even at the top or right near the top of that second tier, probably goes second round, maybe sneaks into the sandwich round if somebody's looking for a college pitcher.
Well, speaking of players that you think are moving up the draft board, maybe have a chance to jump in to the first round, which players come to mind?
Yeah, the guy who jumps to mind most for me is a suburban New York City high school shortstop named Sammy Stafura. There's a lot of high school shortstops in this draft. We're going to see a run on him in the 20s. And I'm starting to hear a lot of Sammy Stafura in the 23 to 28 range. He well above average speed, definitely staying at short. You get some mixed reviews on his bats, which isn't atypical for a high school kid. A lot of Anthony Volpe vibes with Sammy Stafura. And so it shouldn't really come as a surprise. We're hearing the Yankees might be in the mix for Sammy Stafura, but I think he's going to go in the 20s somewhere now. He's really moving up boards.
Now, the Combine was held last week in Arizona, Jim. Which player helped himself the most at that Combine?
Yeah, it's interesting because most of the top players who go to the Combine don't necessarily perform on the field. They're doing interviews, they're doing medicals. That's the important thing for them because they've proven themselves. The guy who I think helped himself the most on the field was Cam Johnson. He's a left-hander from IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. And, he was, probably the number 2 high school left-hander in the class. He was moving up maybe into the sandwich round territory before he came down with elbow tendonitis this spring. He came back a couple weeks ago at the Florida All-Star game, and they pitched at the Combine, 3-minute bullpen, so it's not like he was going a long outing. But, man, Robert, he looked good. It was, you can see here at Fiscal, we saw that clip. It was 95-97 with high spin rates. He snapped off a couple sliders. He definitely looked healthy, which is, I think, what people wanted to see, and I think he's going to be back in that supplemental first round, early second round territory. He's going to get paid wherever he goes. I'll say that.
Who does he remind you of? I'm trying to think of his pitching motion. Obviously the stuff plays. Who does he remind you of?
I mean, it's funny. I mean, he doesn't necessarily remind. When I think of big physical left-handers, I think of CC Sabathia, but like he doesn't necessarily remind me of CC in particular. He just, I mean, like I said, there were not a lot of top pitchers who took the mound at the combine because they didn't need to, or they'd been stopped pitching a month ago in college. But man, he looked. I mean, that arm was quick, and he looked strong and physical. He looked really, really good.
Yeah, Babyface had a song, "Whip Appeal." He's got kind of that, that whip.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim, I don't have to tell you. I know Babyface is in your playlist on a strong
I'm going to be
rotation,
playing some Babyface right after we get done with this clip. I'm going to walk my dogs around the block and pop up some Babyface. So.
Good stuff. Hey, Jim, we appreciate the insight as always, man. Thanks for the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, see you guys in Seattle.
You got it.